Welcome to yet again one of the final episodes here in Australia. This will be the second last episode, I believe, here in this room, in this country. As I mentioned in the last episode, the shelving behind me, if you're watching the video version of this, it's empty. Shit's in storage. Things are leaving. This room is probably pretty echoey now. Caitlin's off. She's at work. She's in her office because it's her last day. She's fucking out. And so am I. Just mentally. I've mentally checked out a long time ago. But welcome all to one of the last episodes, episode 35 of the Mates Rates podcast. If you're new here, my name is Warwick, the host of this one guy, one mic show. If you're watching this, or if you're listening to this on iTunes, I should say, rate it 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, remember, always like, comment, and subscribe. And we have a new segment on this show, okay? We've been trialing it for the last few episodes. I feel like it's doing pretty well. It's called Why Are You the Way That You Are, where I find weird shit on the internet that I want to kind of put out on display for you to laugh along with or comment on. And if you are interested in submitting something, you can hit that email, matesratespod@gmail.com. Whew, I'm getting better at that. I'm getting better at that intro plug. But yeah, here we fucking are. Again, we are two and a half weeks out from leaving this country, and it's so hard to fathom, okay? Because at the moment, we can't leave any further than 15 kilometers from our house. Soon to be 25 kilometers, which doesn't make a massive difference. Can't go over to mates' houses, can't go to the pub, can't go to a cafe, can't go to the shops. So it's so far of a fucking reach that in 2.5 weeks, I'll be living in a whole different country. Those two realities do not exist in the same world, okay? You know, I'm in a fucking fantasy land here. But yeah, it's fucking nuts. A lot of the stuff is in storage. We did some test packing, making sure all of our stuff fits into suitcases. And mine just fits, luckily. Weight is a different issue, though. I feel like we're going to have to, bribe the people at the airport to let us through if we're a couple of kilos over. I'm sure they're not really going to give a fuck. I don't know. The whole landscape of airports now might be completely different because I haven't gotten a flight in like 2 years now, which is very bizarre. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, I spent a lot of time flying. I would say, most of 2015, I believe, or 2014. I think I was catching a flight like every second week, whether it be in Australia or to another country. Flex, but also fucking nuts that was my reality for a bit. So yeah, I wonder what it would be like, because yeah, I've gotten planes before where I've definitely been overweight and they're just like whatever. But one time when I flew to the UK, they were saying, hey, your carry-on bag, because it was a full flight, your carry-on bag is too full, so we're gonna have to check that. And I was like, guys, I got like $20,000 worth of fucking equipment in this bitch. I can't just pop that under the plane and hope for the best. No dice. It worked on the flight home, but on the way there, they're like, no dice. So I had to put like my camera body, like my photo camera body, and a lens and a couple lenses and a bunch of shit in there. And I was like just praying that it would make it. And it didn't make it. It made it to the UK, but my photo camera was broken. So what I'm trying to say is I'm just trying to avoid that. But in the grand scheme of things, if we are overweight, I'm willing to pay extra for the check-in, because we were thinking about this earlier, because as I mentioned last episode, I got a call that morning that our flight got cancelled and we had to reschedule. So we're in Sydney now a day early. So we got a full kind of 24 hours there. And I don't know why I brought that up again. Anyways, oh, that's right, because we have to pay for a hotel. A hotel's like 150 for the night, whatever. It ain't no thing. And I was talking to my friend about it, and he's like, "Fuck, man, that sucks. You gotta spend 150 bucks for a hotel when you're in Sydney." I was like, "Dude, when you are moving countries, 150 bucks feels like a McHappy meal. You know, a McHappy meal, a Happy Meal. It's fucking chump change. You know, it's yeah." So we're more than happy to pay that $150 for that hotel for that night. So yeah, and probably the same thing with the weight of the carry-on. I think it's like an extra $100 if it's over. I'm like, I don't care. I'll fucking pay it because I've already gone to this much time, effort, trouble to move countries. I will do whatever it takes to fucking get to that country. Okay, that's my little morning rant, I guess. But yeah, it is weird. I'm currently in this house by myself, and Caitlin's at work for the full day, finishing up at her job, and she's been working from home for this entire time. So we have spent literally every waking moment together for the last probably during this whole pandemic, you know. So it does feel weird being in the house by myself, but it's good because I don't have to control the volume of my voice, which is a big problem because of my very shit hearing. Apparently, I yell when I don't know that I'm yelling. And that's why you got to wear earplugs, kids. So let's get into this episode. So the meat of this episode. Obviously, because we're moving, I got to set up shop there. I've been emailing production houses. It's been going pretty good. Been lining up some meetings. Everyone in Canada, super nice. You know, I feel like it's going well. It's hard to gauge what work will be like until I actually fucking get there. But you know, fingers crossed that I'll actually have my work there for me when I land. And speaking of, I guess this is like a bit of career advice. You know, if you're a creative, this is a bit of career advice for you. Well, it's not even career advice. It's just what I do. I spend a lot of time looking at job listings for filmmaking and always like full-time gigs. I have no interest, you know. I don't really want to dive into like a full-time gig. So, but what I do is that when I find these gigs, I just email them, cold call them, and be like, hey, you know, I know you're looking for someone full time. I'm not really interested, but if you ever need someone, hit my line and we can work something out. And, you know, not much of a success rate, but it does occasionally. I get those like hitbacks being like, hey, yeah, fuck yeah, we need some help. Hit us back. So that's a bit of career advice if you want to try and get some more work happening. That's one of the billion fucking avenues that you can do. You can have that bit of advice for free. So I was looking the other day, and I don't know why I was looking the other day, because one, we're in lockdown, and two, I'm not even going to be here. Don't know why I bothered. I was probably just bored as fuck being in lockdown. But I found one of these advertisements. So there's this company called doTERRA. Now, if you're not familiar with the multi-level marketing / pyramid scheme world, doTERRA is one of these notorious companies that just prey on the vulnerable, and they get people to sign up to their shitty fucking scheme, and they lose thousands and thousands of their own dollars thinking that they're going to be a hashtag girl boss, hashtag millionaire. Not going to happen, okay? So they were advertising that looking for a videographer and editor, and I was like, holy shit, I was having flashbacks to that Lula Rich documentary that I was talking about a couple of episodes ago. If you don't know, doco series on Prime, I believe. It's called Lula Rich, and it follows the people that created LuLaRoe, and it interviews the people that created it, the victims, the people that used to work there as employees. It's probably the broadest documentary that I've seen on multi-level marketing companies. So it is pretty, like, because most of these companies refuse to talk because they know they're absolute shitbags of people. But these people were willing to talk about it. And I was like, so when I came across this job listing, I just thought to myself, what would they want as a videographer to advertise their platform that ultimately just fucks people over. It's just one massive scam, allegedly. I should probably say allegedly, so in case I don't fucking find me and sue me, you know? But I could just imagine the promo videos would just be, you would feel like you're probably part of a cult, because you're like, yeah, these people are really passionate, you know, but they're probably just too passionate, you know? It's like that fine line. I feel like Gary V is on that fine line between business and cult. Now, look, I'm just going to say it. I'm not I used to be a huge fan of Gary Vee, not much anymore, only because I've just really come to realize his advice is so generic, and he just says a lot of business stuff, says a lot of buzzwords until something hits and is a success, and then he can rip the rewards off it. Right now, he's on that crypto NFT train, and he's like, oh, NFTs, they're the way to go, man. This is the worst Gary Vee impression. But it is true, though. You know, NFTs in the entertainment space and the creator space will be fucking dominant in a few years' time. Record labels and, you know, management companies, watch the fuck out, because the power is going back to the artist. But that's a whole nother discussion for another day, because I don't want to bore everyone. So I feel like Gary's on that fine line of business and cult, because he has success of what he backs up, and he's not forcing people to do stuff, but just the way he kind of says his words, and the way he just his approach in general is a little bit culty in a way, okay? But I will give props to Gary, because even though I'm not a fan, at least you have shit to back it up with. There's all these fucking bozos that want to be like Gary, the wannabe Garys, okay? The wannabe GVs, and these people don't even have a lick of success, but they just know how to talk the talk, and that's how they get people sucked in. So again, that's that fine line of cults. I feel like doing these videos for this doTERRA company would be exactly like that. And man, it would be uncomfortable, because would they try to manipulate you to become a reseller for their shitty brand? Because I feel like that would be the case. I feel like they would be wanting to do that. But for some reason, this whole marketing thing reminded me of 10 years ago, and they probably still exist now, because I knew of pyramid schemes and I knew how they worked, but I thought they were a thing of the past. I thought there was something that happened in the 80s and the 90s, and they were done with. But 10 years ago when I was living in Brisbane, I would see these handwritten signs at stoplights, and I hope while I'm saying this, people know what the fuck I'm talking about, but there'll be these shitty handwritten signs in big letters saying stuff you know, you can earn $2,000 a week working part-time from home. And 10 years ago, I didn't really have much of a job. I was in and out of jobs all the time, because I was finding myself just out of high school. But I saw those signs all the time, and straight away I was like, obviously this is a scam of some sort, and this is definitely too good to be true. And I was like, holy shit, that's now that I think about it, it's probably those multi-level marketing things. But at the time, I believed that when I read those signs that they were what else? The telemarketing companies, or the ones that the scam called telemarketing ones, the ones that you get all the time. I thought it was something like that, which is funny, because I worked telemarketing jobs before that I really want to fucking talk about, maybe in another episode. But damn, that was call center work. Man, that builds character. I feel like people say, oh, working retail is working McDonald's, and yeah, don't get me wrong, working McDonald's is fucking toughens you up, but tell you what, doing telemarketing, that is a whole nother level of being tough. Just whirlwind of rejection, but I was kind of used to it, because I was getting rejected left, right, and center from girls. Anyways, let's move on to what the meat of the main topic of this week's episode that I really, really want to dive into. Okay, so again, I've spoken about 1 billion times before, but for the one person who doesn't know, I grew up on the south coast of New South Wales. It's a beautiful little pocket, but at the same time, there's a lot of problems there. It's there's a great divide in like the economy and the way that it's structured. I don't want to get into any political talks, but that I'm just calling it on how it is and how it was growing up. People were either really good or they were struggling. You know, there wasn't much of a middle class kind of growing up, I guess. You know, maybe someone from my hometown would like to correct me, but at the same time, what I'm trying to say is there was a big population of lower socioeconomic population, okay, in my hometown. But at the same time, because it's like a beach town, you have these like not mansions, but just beach houses, and they went for a lot of money, and they still do. You know, now it's caused like this massive housing crisis where people were working full-time jobs in my hometown, but they can't. They don't have a house. They earn a full-time wage, but they can't get a house. I'm getting off the topic, but that's just how it is at the moment. Now, for further context, there was this dude who sold some company to Google or something like that for fuck you money, okay? Like, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars that he sold this company for, and he was originally from the South Coast. So I'm letting this slide, okay? Because he's like, it's part of that whole localized mentality. I'm going to let that one slide that he was from our hometown. Because what he did is he bought 3 beach houses that backed off onto the beach, bought 3 in a row, knocked them all down, and built this big fuck off, like, not even like a mega mansion, just this really big fuck off house that spanned across 3 housing lots and backs onto the beach. He's got one of those car elevators in the garage that goes into the living room, because sometimes when you drive past, you can see it through the window. It's pretty fucking cool. And yeah, like, sure, that was like kind of caused a bit of a controversy, but at the same time, he was from our hometown. He wasn't like some Sydney sider, I do believe. I'm not too sure about that. I don't know. I don't really give a fuck. But what I'm trying to say is that those things happen very occasionally. Now, what I'm trying to get to is my homegirl, Courtney. Shout out, Court. Her and we know each other our whole lives, and she's in Melbourne now as well. She found a listing. I don't know how she found this, but she found this listing from my hometown where someone bought a beach house. Okay. Now, originally I thought someone was selling this beach house because it was listed for okay. Sorry. I'm doing this car settlement stuff and I'm getting messages about it. Really frustrating. And super distracting. I'm sure you're very annoyed about it, but no more distractions. So I thought this house was originally listed, but it would actually sold, because this is the outrageous part. It sold for $10 million fucking dollars. $10 million. So at first I thought someone just listed their house for $10 million. And I was like, ooh, that's pretty expensive. I hope they can get it for that. And to put it into context, most of these beach houses probably go for like $4 million at the absolute most, I'd want to say. But this house sold for $10 million. Now, I'm going to bring up the photos because I want to, and I will put them up. And this is kind of on like the why are you the way you are, because who the fuck would spend $10 million on this house, okay? So it's number 15, Shipton Crescent, Mollymook, all right? Is the house on an acre of land? No, it's not even that. It's not that big. The land's not that big. But basically, this house is only a 4-bedroom house, okay? And it's not even on a nice beach. It's actually on one of like the little hidden beaches that no one really cares about. But anyways, as you look at this listing, all the photos are of the beach, okay? So this house obviously backs onto the beach, but it backs onto one of the private beaches. So it's not even like one of the popular beaches that everyone knows and loves about our hometown area. It's just like, but there is a direct path from the house onto the beach. Now that's not super uncommon. There's a bunch of houses like that in this area. the way I'm describing this is like I grew up in the fucking OC or something like that. And like, yeah, the house is nice. Don't get me wrong, but it's only 4-bedroom. Okay. So, and like, yeah, there's 50 fucking photos of this house and all of them are of the beach. I'm swiping through this and I'll have this playing while I'm talking. Okay. Now we're at the actual house photos. But when you look at it, like, yeah, it's nice. It's got these beautiful bifold door window things that go onto the deck and you can see the beach and it's beautiful. It's got a nice pool. Like, don't get me wrong when I say the house is nice, okay? But it's not that big and I don't see how this is worth 10 mil. Whoever sold this for 10 mil must be fucking laughing because they just got away with highway robbery, I guess. Like, again, I'm not discrediting the house, but I don't think I would. And here's like the floor plan, and you can kind of see how, you know, small, I guess, the master bedroom's only 4 by 4 meters. That's not big at all, really. So, anyways, I'm going to stop recording there so I can concentrate on ranting about this house. But it blows my mind that someone bought this for 10 mil because I want to know who made this decision. But what I'm trying to get to, I know I've rambled about for this house for a while, but this is crazy. So the beach that it backs onto is this beach called Collars Beach. Now, growing up, it's a very like localized kind of, I wouldn't say localized beach because it's like the surf never really pumps there. So the only reason why people go there is just to hang out. Now, when I was in high school, we would go out there and party all the time. We'd have bonfires. You'd get fucked up. Only like 2 houses backed on to the beach. So again, super fucking hidden. Okay. And sorry, I'm just looking. All right. Okay. I'm getting distracted. So we went to that beach because it was so secluded and we'd always have parties and it was really good. And I'm sure kids still do that to this day. Now, what I want to know, these people spent $10 million on this house. Do they think they own that fucking beach now? Because, and I hope they're out of towners because, well, they must be because no one in my fucking hometown earns $10 million for a house. That's fucking unfathomable. But these people are going to get a pretty big shock if they think that they own that beach. Because, yeah, I'm hoping those parties still go ahead because they're going to have like a lot of problems. Because cops would get called on us all the time, but the cops never came out and they never really gave a shit because we weren't really troublemakers, I guess. Anyways, that was my rant on why are you the way you are? Like, why would you spend $10 million for a house that backs onto the beach? That's all I'm trying to say. That's stupid. But shout out to the person that finessed it. I want to know. Actually, you know what? Let's do this together as a group assignment, okay? I am going to look up 15 Shipton Crescent, and that's not how you spell Shipton, Warwick, you fucking idiot. I want to look up the history. Okay, here we go. Property history. Let's see how much. Okay, let's see how much this thing sold for. Oh my fucking God. This house sold for $2.3 million 5 years ago. So in the space of 5 years, they turned $2.3 million into $10 million. I got to get rich. That's I got to get rich, man. Like, that is insane. And yeah, here in 1998, the house price was $890,000. Okay. So anyways, I'm just trying to, okay. Yeah, I'm getting distracted on that, but still, I got to get rich. That's the end of my goal, is to be rich. So I can turn 2 million into 5 million within 5 years. That's fucking insane for property. Because property is supposed to double. I think the rule of thumb is like your property doubles every 10 years. That did not double. That fucking 5x'd within 5 years. The system is fucking broken, man. Anyways, like, all right, let's move on. I talked about that for way too long, but I just found it super fucking fascinating. And if you are wondering, if you do want to talk to me about, if you do want me to talk about it further, there is like this crazy fucking gentrification that's been going on in my small little hometown that's been very disruptive over the last few years. That it's honestly kind of sad to see, but yeah, if you want me to chat more about that, I would love to get more into that. Again, email matespod@gmail.com, or you can just leave a comment on the YouTube link, and yeah, chat about shit further. All right, let's move on to everyone's favorite topic. What's going on in politics? So, Dan Andrews, who's obviously, our leader our premier in Victoria, just got fined for not wearing his mask when he was walking from his car to Parliament, okay? And honestly, at this point, fucking big whoop, man. Like, big whoop, okay? And I know there's going to be anti-vaxxers and anti-Dan people that are going to fucking put me through the ringer, but I could honestly give two less of shits about the situation. But what I do find it funny is that the media's reaction to it, and again, it's just like, oh, the people who are problematic in this country, mainstream media. I was like, yeah, no fucking shit. But these people went ham on Dan Andrews, slamming him, saying, oh, he's he should be fined for it and blah, blah, blah. And which I found fucking hilarious because, like, and he did get fined, he got a $400 fine, but, when you pay a fine, right, that goes back into the government. That goes into government-run programs. Dan Andrews is the government, so he essentially just paid himself $400. Do you see how flawed that logic is to slam him and give him a fine? Plus, the dude earns like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. By the time they made the decision to fine him $400, he probably made like fucking 3 times that amount of money. Okay? Fucking idiots. But I do love how the media was slamming him for it. And this all happened a few days after Gladys, who Premier of New South Wales, had to resign. And it's like, and there was way more coverage on that than Gladys resigning. I'm like, you do understand, right? Gladys had to resign over investigation into corruption, into literal corruption, into spending millions of our taxpayer dollars for her own personal benefit. And you want to slam Dan Andrews for a $400 fine for not wearing a mask. Do you understand where the logic is flawed within this country, especially with the narrative of the media? I don't want to turn this into a political podcast, but Jesus, like, how do people not understand that there's all these issues going on, but the only ones you care about are the ones where the media that tells you should be angry about. Oh, you should be angry about Dan Andrews because he's being a stickler for the rules, but he wasn't wearing a mask. Oh, Gladdy B? Bin Chicken? Oh, like, look. Yeah, okay. She did an oopsie. She spent $5 million of taxpayer dollars for her own personal benefit, allegedly. And, look, like, they'll look into it, but I'm sure it's fine. Do you understand where the problems lay in this country? All right? I'd much rather give a fuck about $5 million of taxpayer dollars than a fucking $400 fine on a mask, not wearing a mask. Yeah, God. But it is funny. It's like, Dan Andrews essentially just played the Uno reverse card and paid himself that $400. But yeah, like, as I'm saying, like, this whole pandemic has showed me really how stupid some fucking people are. And I've been proven wrong as well. I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't really know the whole picture here, So, speaking of New South Wales, congrats, guys. Even though I'm really pissed off that we're still in lockdown, I do have to say congrats on getting out of lockdown. You guys deserve it to an extent because, you know, you did hog and steal all of the vaccines. That's why you got out of lockdown earlier. But congrats. In like the broader scheme of things, congrats, because it's good that you guys are out of lockdown and you're now trying to live your best life. Except for the dickheads that want to go to businesses, and this is going to happen in fucking Melbourne as well. All these dickhead anti-maskers that are abusing staff in New South Wales. Now, this has happened at cafes and retail stores, and it blows my mind that these anti-vaxxers are learning the hard way that just going to a cafe for a coffee in the morning is a privilege. Okay, it's not a necessity. You know, like I'm not trying to pull the whole the starving children in Africa, but there are people in the world who would kill to have the amount of freedom that we do in this country, just to be able to walk down to a cafe and get a coffee in the morning, and that just be normal routine. Okay, there's so many people in this world that would kill for that kind of normality. Okay, so that's why it's a privilege, because it's not equal to everyone. I do believe there is a fine line between it, though. I've spoken about it before, like the internet. I do believe the internet is a necessity. It's not a privilege anymore. I feel like everyone does need access to the internet. But again, I'm diving too much into the political scheme of the world. This is, you know, I'm sure some dickhead people will hit me up being like, oh, this guy's a fucking socialist and blah, blah, blah. And whatever, man, whatever. But it blows my mind these anti-vaxxers want to abuse these poor staff members, okay, these hospo and retail workers who've definitely hit it really hard during this whole pandemic, okay, and it's not even up to them. It's up to the government. They're just following the rules so they can operate. And it's funny how during lockdown, the anti-vax dickheads were saying, oh, end this tyranny, end this lockdown, these small businesses are suffering, we need to go out and support small businesses. And once they open, they're now boycotting those same fucking businesses because they're not allowed to be let in because they're not vaccinated. It's like, you can't have one without the other, mate. Like, what narrative are you going with here? Okay. Anyway, that's like my hot takes about that. All I'm saying is, thank fuck I'm getting out of this country before those kind of things occur here in Melbourne. Because yeah, I would fucking lose it if I saw that shit happening. Because it's not fair. It's not fair. Like, these staff members don't get paid enough to deal with your bullshit. Nurses don't get paid enough to deal with your bullshit while you're in the ICU still spitting your anti-vax bullshit, okay? No one gets paid enough. All right? Fucking hell. Which is funny because, like, being in the film industry, I haven't really seen... I've come across only, like, 2 occasions I can really say on top of my head where people were anti-vax, and I was like, okay, whatever, man. Like, just... It's funny how they're definitely the loud minority because, yeah, out of all the people I've dealt with during the pandemic, when I've been lucky enough to be able to shoot again, it's just like they've been fine people, but you've had a couple of people who are against it, and it's kind of like, whatever, man. Like, you know, you want to be left behind, that's fine, okay? This is the worst group assignment ever, all right? But yeah, my sister's business also got attacked online, it's a whole nother saga. But basically, this person went on her Facebook page, and I'm not going to dox my sister's page. Actually, no, I will, because we need to support small businesses. Belinda Hughes Skin. Check it out if you need skincare shit done here in Melbourne. She's got a shop in South Yarra. It's nice. Go check it out. Go support her business once things open up again, all right? But this fucking clown dickhead went on and, like, left bad reviews and was leaving comments about, like, oh, I went here and my skin got all fucked up, and they clearly have never been to a business. They're just trying to hurt it. Anyways, I start reporting the comments. Caitlin does as well. Caitlin even finds the person's place of work and emails their complaints department being like, hey, this person represents your business, but they're abusing this small business. And I think that's all kind of fucked up. Crazy turn of events. An hour later, Caitlin gets a call from this business. Now, this isn't a small, this is a big worldwide company. Okay. Caitlin gets a call from their head of like Australia department. Like not the head of Australia department, but you know what I mean? Like the head office of the Australian division of this company. She gets a call from them and they're profusely apologizing, and turns out that this person is a fake account. And what they've done is they've gone to multiple small businesses that have supported, the vaccination to enter type thing. Yes, Leroy. Oh, I'll bring this little fur ball up in my lap while I pat him and talk to you guys. So yeah, this person, she said that the person from this company said, yeah, we've been receiving a lot of abuse. A lot of like complaints regarding this account. So they're obviously just setting up fake accounts, and what they're doing is they're actually like going to multiple businesses and just leaving bad reviews and stuff. It's like, man, like, have you got nothing else better to do with your day? I don't know. I've been talking about this for a while, and I don't know why I keep talking about it, because it's not going to get better. What I've learned is that no matter how much statistics and proof that you show that vaccines work, you need to go out and get vaccinated to not only protect yourself, but protect the community, protect others around you who are, in unfortunate positions. They're not as privileged and healthy as you might be. No matter how much you tell them that, they're not going to budge on their opinion, which it honestly just goes to show how self-centered they are about this whole situation. They don't care. It's all just me, okay? Because they clearly don't have anyone in their lives that are suffering. Then they got their head so far up their ass they can't think for others. Anyways, that's a little rant. I'm going to wrap this up and be a bit of a shorter one today. I want to wrap this up by talking about the album, the events that have ultimately changed my life. Changed my life is what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I fucking was trying to drag that on for too long. Fuck. So, Trophy Eyes, who I worked for a lot in the past, their album Chemical Miracle turns 5 today. 5 years ago that album came out. I remember we were in a van doing an overnight drive in the middle of fucking Nebraska. So all we saw for hours on end were just cornfields and shit. And that's when the album came out worldwide. And that whole time of my life was insane. I was going through the worst time of my life, and it also was the best time of my life. There was a lot of things happening. I was in America. There was a lot of shit happening here at home that I was trying to deal with mentally. But I just want to say a huge thank you to the Trophy Eyes dudes, who I've thankful for endlessly in the past, for believing in me as an artist to work with them, for a few album cycles, for music videos, tour videos, photos, all that type of stuff. They've been nothing but fucking fantastic people to work with, and I really do owe a lot of my success to them. And that album did a lot for all of us, like for the people in the band and myself. It changed a lot of our lives for the good. A lot of good things kind of came out of that. That tour that we're on, when the album came out, was the tour of the Amity Affliction in America. And I almost got denied entry into America for that tour because I was on a holiday visa because I wasn't being paid for it, so I could get away with it. And that was that was a stressful time because I was held up in immigration for 5 hours at LA, and they finally let me go because they found out I was just not being paid for the whole time. It wasn't like they were interrogating me for 5 hours. They just held me in a room for 5 hours, and then they came and talked to me for like 30 seconds and then let me go. Longest 5 hours of my life. No phone, no wallet, no nothing. Just staring at the fucking clock. That was insane. A lot of crazy stories from that tour, actually. But yeah, that tour was a lot of fun. I'm just trying to think of any like crazily memorable moments, but I just remember when the album came out, the Breathe You In music video that we did, I filmed that on a fucking GoPro, and it's got nearly 1 million views. And that was like kind of like a spare of the moment thing. Like, we knew we had to do the music video, but we had no budget, so we were like, what can we do? And Pocket, the guitarist, had a GoPro, and then John started talking about this idea about doing a music video at a theme park, and I was like, fuck yeah, that sounds fun as hell. So what we did is we just did that. Just got the GoPro, just had a day at Coney Island in New York, which is insane, man. Like, I never thought in my life that I'd be able to film a music video in New York. So that was a lot of fun. Edited the whole thing in like a day, 2 days. That was craziest turnaround that I've done. And yeah, the video's got nearly 1 million views now. I just remember that being a lot of fun. We got yelled at by the fucking, what are they called? What are they called? The people, I'm not going to say clownies because that sounds fucking weird, but you know what I mean? The people that like, they run all the rides and shit like that, and they're just the weirdest motherfuckers. They're probably all homeschooled or something like that. So I remember they were yelling at us for filming on the rides and things like that. Carnies is the name I'm thinking of. And we went to Applebee's in the morning of the music video shoot, which was probably the worst idea ever, going to a fucking Applebee's before you ride roller coasters all day long. I remember for that music video specifically, John, because he was singing, and he had to be straight-faced, and he would get off the rides and just start screaming his lungs out because he had to hold it in for the whole ride and just concentrate on like getting the timing right because there was no earpiece, so he had to guess the timing of the lyrics. But that was a lot of fun. That whole day was fun as fuck, man. And it's just moments like that that made me like really, in the grand scheme of things, I'll always kind of remember that. And working on that documentary as well, the Road to Chemical Miracle, go watch it. I'm probably gonna watch it after this because fuck it, why not? You know, I'm having a Kanye moment where I'm enjoying my own work. All right. So yeah, I just want to say, shout out to Trophy Eyes, shout out to Chemical Miracle, and thanks for everyone who supported my work while I was on that run and with the Trophy Eyes dudes and just in the music industry kind of in general. If you fell off, that's fine, I get it, if you just want to watch people that do music stuff. But if you followed my journey from Trophy Eyes to now with commercial work, scripted content, this podcast, man, fucking thank you, because that was just, that's just been the coolest thing ever. Anyways, that's it. Sentimental moment out. Join me next week for a very special final, wait, is it next week or the week after? Nah, it would have to be next week. Yeah. All right. This is it, folks. Next week is the final ever episode of the Mates Race podcast here in Australia. Okay. Join me for a very special episode. Tell your friends and family about it. I love you all very much. Thank you for riding with me. Thank you for fucking with me. I hope you have a great week wherever you are in the world. And that's it. That's my moment. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.